Hi everyone, it's Leona with Leona's Designs. Welcome to another Scripture Pockets 2026. And this is week 2 of our Scripture Pocket project. And today we are going to focus on a scripture from the book of Exodus. We are going to make a pocket and use a scripture, actually more than one scripture, in Exodus, because I chose Exodus 20 verses 3 through 17, and maybe many of you know that is the 10 Commandments. And I thought it would be fun to make some stacked pockets using the 10 Commandments as fillers. So this is what I came up with. And it's kind of like we worked on last week. Last week we worked on the waterfall pocket. This week it's a stacked pocket. It doesn't flip down like the waterfall did. It's just stationary pockets. But there are 10 of them. And they're very easy to make. And the best part is they use book pages. And I know many of us have book pages that we have sitting around that we're eager to use. So let's get started and make these 10 pockets and fill them with Exodus 20 verses 3 through 17. Really easy project, and will be a great project to fill your journals. Okay, so what I'm going to set this aside, and what I've got here is some book page. These book pages that I used here, I did tea dye and I did distress them so they look kind of vintage. And I covered this first one with some scrapbook paper. And what I did here, the printouts, I used my little PeriPage printer to print out this little label here and all the numbers. But if you don't have one of these, you could just write them. And these inserts are index cards, which I distressed. So let's get that put back in there and we'll get working on the project. I have some book page, I have some index cards, and each book page, the ones I have, of course maybe the ones you have are different, but the ones I have here are 9 inches by about 6 inches. So I ripped these out of the book, so they're 9 by 6. And each one of these pages will make 2 pockets. So the way I was shown, I believe I saw this instruction video on YouTube. I believe it was by Pam at the Paper Outpost. And that's where I got the idea. So I will link her video below in the description box if you want to go check it out. I'm pretty sure it was her where I saw it, but there's probably others on YouTube. Stacked pockets are pretty popular. But right now I'm going to put these 2 pages together because when we fold them, we'll end up having 4 pockets. So let's put these together. And then we're going to turn them horizontally. You could fold them this way, but you wouldn't have the pockets like I made here. So I'm going to turn them horizontally. I'm going to fold them in to just where they meet. One is just overlapping the other. Okay? So whatever width you want, that's how you would determine it, by how far you overlap. And then you try to make all of them the same. So now these 2 pockets are going to be 4 1/4. 4 1/4 inches wide. Okay, so after we do that, burnish them down, then we open them up, and now we have 2 pages of book page, and we're going to glue this one side down to seal it where it overlaps. So I'm just using a glue stick. You can use your favorite glue. Just glue that right down there where it overlaps. You want to end up with a tube. You don't want to glue it together. You want it to be a tube. Let me move this up a little bit. Okay, so we're going to do that with the second one. This is the one that overlaps just along the edge. And match it up. Glue it down so that it's a tube now. Okay, now we fold them in half, match them up as best you can, burnish them down, and then we cut them in half. Right on that fold line. So now we have 2 pockets, and the width or the length of these is 3 inches, about 3 inches by 4 1/4 inches. So this is going to be our pockets. What I do is, what some people don't glue them on the bottom, but I do. I glued every one of these so that when you put the index card in, it stops. So what I did, instead of just gluing this bottom part, is I took another book page and I measured the width of that pocket. About approximately. And then I just cut a little strip about this wide. And then I bent it over and glued it on both sides. Let me get my something to glue on here. So I put glue on this little strip. I glued half of it to the bottom of this pocket, and then I flipped it over and I glued the other half on the back, and that closes the pocket. And you're not going to see the back of these because they will be glued down to a journal page most likely. Okay, so now our pocket, gotta get a little more glue here. So now our pocket is glued. So this is as far as anything can go. Why is it not sticking? Okay, so now I'm going to do the same to this one. It's open at the bottom. Just cut a little strip. Measure it so that it fits. Put a little glue on it. tape it down to one side, flip it over, tape it to the back, and trim it. And there we have another one. Now you can leave these tops roughly or just trim them down or trim them off to match, whatever you want. I left some of mine roughly, some were straight across. All depends how you want it to look. Then what I did was I took my circle punch just determine which side you want to be the front and that they match up. Take a circle punch if you want to. I did get a new circle punch and center it and just cut a little notch there. And now you have two pockets. And what I did was distress. And you could tea-dye these beforehand, these pages. You could distress them all before you fold them. You don't even have to use book page if you don't want to. Could use, regular paper or scrapbook paper. But just keep in mind that the whole thing is only going to show on the first pocket. The rest of these, you're just going to see part of them. So, like if this was my first one, I wouldn't need to distress this any farther than just maybe an inch down. I think that's how I layered them, like an inch apart. So there, I would layer it kind of like that. I think it was an inch or a half inch. Depends what size page you're going to put this on. How far you layer them. Let me see. How far did I layer these? Yeah, it was a half inch. So I separated them a half inch as I glued them down. And see, they're all glued on the back. So you would, if you wanted to just measure, like that's about a half inch, or you can just eyeball it, depending what size page you're going to glue them down to. So there we have two pockets, pretty easy to make. And I'll do two more, just to show you how quick and easy it is to do it. Now I could distress these right away. Let's do that. Let's distress them and see how that works out. I tea-dyed all the other book pages and it worked out really well. But I didn't have time to tea-dye these before I started this video. So we'll just distress them. And then we will, let's see, I have to turn it. And then we'll fold them up. After we fold them together, after we put them horizontally and fold them together and overlap them and glue them down, then we fold them together in half, burnish it down, cut them on where we folded them, cut your notch now, or you can wait till you glue the bottom. It doesn't really matter. Burnish that a little bit. Now I'll cut another, let's see, cut a couple more strips to glue on the bottom here. Doesn't need to be too wide of a strip, just so that when you fold it in half, it covers the bottom and glues it shut. And cooperate here. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna just glue that shut. Flip it over and glue this side. And trim off the excess. Now you could distress this too. You don't really need to because it's not going to show. Unless you were just making one pocket like this and you were going to put it on a page, then you would probably want to do something more with that. Cover this side maybe. But when you're making the stacking pockets, you don't really need to cover it much because it's not going to show. Okay, this glued down, bend it over, glue that down, trim. And there we have it. And we have two more. They should be about the same size. And they are. So now we have 4 pockets. I'm going to make the other 6, and I'll be back to show you how I'm going to stack them. Oh, I do want to show you when you're making the rest of your pockets, you need to, when you're folding them, measure up with the ones you already made when you're folding them to make sure that they're the same width as the ones you already made. Okay, so like when you take 2 pages, I gotta get another page. But if you're taking this page and you're folding it, what I do is I fold one side in about to the middle, and then I take this pocket that I already made and then measure it up to where I fold this side in. Get it approximately the same width. So you see, can get it exactly the same. This one needs to be folded a little less, like right there. And then you can check before you glue. Check before you glue to make sure that it's the same width. So I just wanted to show you that before we went on. Okay, so I've got 10 pockets all cut out and punched and distressed and glued together. So now we're ready to stack them. Get something to glue on here. Use this instead. Okay, so determine which one you want as your front pocket. I think I'm gonna do this one. And then your next pocket, you can determine if you want this folded side showing or not. I think I'm going to distress this side so I don't have the folded side showing. Wasn't paying attention when I was distressing them. Okay, so then your next pocket, this is your first pocket. Your next pocket, you can eyeball 1/2 inch, or you can measure. That's about 1/2 inch right there, a little over. Okay, so then what you do is you put your glue on the back of this first pocket. Where's my glue stick? And you glue it down to wherever spacing you want, 1/2 inch or whatever. I think that's gonna work for me. It's about 1/2 inch. Okay, so you get it straight on the sides, line it to the middle, glue it down. So there you have your 2 pockets glued together. Put a little more glue there. So you're only gluing the back side. So you've got the front side of your pocket that opens. And then you can continue doing that. So you would add glue to this one on the back. And you would glue it to your next pocket. Lining it up, getting it to about the width you want, and gluing it down. This one's got to fold again, so just do this side. So I'll put glue here on the back. Measure it up. Warm it up and paste it down. And you just keep doing that the whole way. I'm going to finish the rest of these and I'll be back. Okay, I've got them all glued together, front and back. So this side, most likely you will glue down to a journal page. If not, you could place it on a backing piece. I don't know if I have a backing piece here, but for instance, you could use this as a backing piece, glue it down if you wanted to use it in some other way other than a journal page. And now we can get ready to fill our pockets. So I've got some index cards here. And, before I did that, I wanted to show you, I always go through and make sure my pockets aren't glued together. So I just kind of go through all of them, make sure that they're open. And that they can fit something in them. They all stop. And they do. Okay, so there we have our 10 pockets. Now for this, if you're doing this project and you want to do the 10 Commandments pockets for this project, you would want to either write a label here on the front, 10 Commandments, Exodus 20, verses 3 through 17. Then you would have to, or you wouldn't have to, but you could cut your little cards out of index cards or scrapbook paper, and the size is 3.5 by 3. So this is a 3x5 index card. So I'm going to cut these 3.5 by 3. I'm going to use my little paper cutter. There it is. So these should be 3. So I just need to cut it to 3.5. And there I have an insert for my pocket. And on this side, I can put the verse. On this side, I can journal. Now I printed the verse, like I said, with my little PeriPage printer. If you don't have that, you can write the verse here. You can write the number. And then you can, if you want to, distress the card. And hopefully, if we measured right, they will fit in the pocket. And it does. So, that's what you would do if you want to make this with me. If you're doing this Scripture Pockets 2026, a different pocket and a different scripture every week, you could do it this way. If you just want to make these pockets and add them to a journal for any other thing that you're working on, or you just want to make them and add 1 or 2 to a page, you could do that. They're very easy, and they use up book pages. And I want to read the scriptures before I go, just because we're focusing on Exodus 20, verses 3 through 17, the 10 Commandments. Number 1, you shall have no other gods before me. Exodus 20, verse 3. You shall not make for yourself an idol in the form of anything. Exodus 20, verse 4. Number 3, you shall not misuse the name of your Lord your God. Exodus 20, verse 7. Number 4, remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. Exodus 20, verse 8. Number 5, honor your father and your mother. Exodus 20, verse 12. Number 6, you shall not murder. Exodus 20, verse 13. Number 7, you shall not commit adultery. Exodus 20, verse 14. Number 8, you shall not steal. Exodus 20, verse 15. Number 9, you shall not give false testimony against your neighbor. Exodus 20, verse 16. And number 10, you shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife or anything that belongs to your neighbor. Exodus 20, verse 17. And those are the 10 commandments God gave in Exodus. And Jesus summed them up when he said, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and soul, and love your neighbor as yourself. So there we have the 10 commandments in our 10 pockets, and hope to see you again next week for week 3 of the Scripture Pockets 2026. Thank you for watching today. I hope you were inspired. I hope maybe you will take to heart what we did here today and create these pockets and create the little cards with the scriptures on them of the Ten Commandments. They're a good reminder to go back and remind yourself of what God was telling us in Exodus. So thanks for watching. Have a blessed day and hope to see you next week. Bye-bye.